All right, hello, and thank you for tuning in. I'm just getting home from work, and I have a really cool message, I believe. It's kind of in flow here about conflict resolution. Um, I'm the type of person at my workplace who, I'm going to say something, I'm going to point things out. It's actually part of just the way I am that I'm very sensitive, and you know, I don't tolerate things that are not acceptable, and you shouldn't either. And I've actually seen my workplace transform. I'm always seeking to do in the most loving way possible, make sure I'm doing my inner work about the things that happen. But overall, I've seen that when I speak up in a loving way, in a powerful way, things change for the better. Um, and this is something that, Jeff and Shea talked about in the teaching that as you love yourself and do the inner work, and stand up for yourself as God calls you for, you that's part of loving a place completely, and you will either go deeper with the place if they choose to go with love, or God will kind of give you a promotion to the next level. So um, it's still something I'm learning all the time. I'll be honest, it's something I'm growing through. There's a lot of resistance in consciousness to calling stuff out, and you get better at it the more you do. But I wanted to pull a deck because I'm still feeling incomplete, and I'm sharing my inner work basically with you. I feel like I made some good progress today, but I want us all to learn from my experience with conflict resolution through the psychic tarot of the heart. Um, in short, had a mediated conversation with a coworker to kind of resolve some differences. I'm feeling some progress was made, and I'm feeling there's some more work to be done. And that's okay if conflict resolution is a process. And I want to learn how I can go deeper and solve this at the root, because as you get better and better, the whole point is you never have to feel bad. And lots of people, if you don't ever resolve conflict, you're just holding on to the conflict in your being and maybe putting on a happy face. Everything's okay, but I feel like shit on the inside. It's not how this works. You want to feel good all the time. And you're handling conflict well when you genuinely, from a deep place, feel good. And even if you don't feel good in your workplace, it's just something to work through. God is there with you, and you just need to peel it back layer by layer. So, without further ado, start this reading and see what God's lessons are for me and for you watching to go deeper in our conflict resolution skills. Um, okay, this is really good start. So, base chakra. And a lot of what I talked about was about feeling, emotionally safe and safety. Base chakra, this is all about, like, this is your root chakra. It's feeling safe. And that's, if I don't set boundaries, if I don't communicate my needs and wants, I don't feel safe in an environment. And you don't deserve to feel unsafe. So the ability to conflict resolve is a huge aspect of your safety. And so this is just verifying that, yes, this is absolutely essential to learn this skill. Like, I literally, if I don't resolve conflict, I start to feel like I want to quit my job. I don't want to work here anymore, but I need my job to live. So, you know, your foundation, right? You have to provide your intimate relationships, your work, your home. You need to make sure you're going deep and resolving things as they come up, because that is how you create a life of deep safety and comfort for yourself. Um, Next card, yeah, feeling alone. So, of course, as an autistic person too, like, I realize I process things differently, I feel things differently, and I've been feeling alone a lot. Like, nobody, like, to be honest, in this particular situation, I was like so shocked. Like, how could somebody do something what I found so egregious, so awful, and not even know they did anything wrong? I'm like, oh my God. Does this, hello? But I'm like, okay, a lot of us are, you might call yourself a star seed, a spiritual person, whatever you want to call yourself, even autistic, but you feel alone sometimes because you're like, does anyone else notice? No, and that's your job. Your job is to point those things out. I know it can feel lonely sometimes. You're like, shouldn't people already know this? Well, they don't. That's your gift. You're a gift in every space you go into. And I'm realizing I don't need to fit in. I don't need to be liked. I need to feel good, though. I deserve to feel good. And that comes from me loving myself being myself and expressing myself. So this card's acknowledging that, yes, there's a part of me that has been feeling alone at work. And that's not new, but in the teaching, they actually call it, you need to learn to stand alone with God, which means you won't ever compromise your values and your morals. You will be with God, which is be with love, and you will stand up for God, even if you're all alone. That's a hugely important principle if you want to follow God, because God wants a just, safe world for all, and that requires people to stand up and ask for the best from life and stand up for those higher values. So, very good. But of course, you got to work through the feeling of like being alone, but then bringing God into that space and recognizing you're never alone. Because especially if you're standing with your values, you're standing with God. Oof, oof. This deck is deep. Refusing to see. Um, that's the consequence of not doing something. Ooh, I felt this. I'm like, and even the person I had the conflict with was like, I didn't even know you had a conflict because it's true. I kind of was shoving it down. Oh, I can't do that. Like something unacceptable to me happened. I need to address it. This is what we're taught in society. Oh, I know you just did something bad, but it's too scary to look at, to confront. Oof. No. You know by your feelings. You can accept that, okay, that wasn't acceptable. And usually there are two aspects to it. It's refusing to see what happened on the outside and deal with that, but you also have to look at what's in the inside. You have to, because like you have to take responsibility for your feelings and emotions. You attract what happens to you. Now, I've said before in other videos, this doesn't mean you don't handle what's happening on the outside, but you need to look within at that hurt place. Ooh. And maybe do the mirror exercise there, like, ooh, this person, I feel attacked by them. Where is my consciousness attacking myself? I'm going to love myself there. I'm actually kind of doing that right now. Um, and I tell myself, I choose to love myself. Attack isn't real. I'm safe. I choose safety. And I choose to stand up for safety and to create a more safe uh, world by loving myself and speaking up and standing up for myself. So we can't live this way. This is how things pile up, and I realize, if I without addressing this, like I just, it's important to feel good at home or good at work, and if you don't address it, you're going to feel like this guy. Your vibration's going to start lowering, and that's not what you want. So, I just have to take that in for a minute. And you can say this mantra: I choose to see and I choose to stand up for my seeing. So I usually do a 3 card reading, but I do feel there's like one more. I think that's a good conclusion. Move. So once you've done the inner work and called God into the space, move is don't be afraid to act. And I noticed this once I do inner work, um, and I heal within, because you don't want to address conflict from a space of a charge. And that's where you want to first look within. You want to see within and look, how can I love myself and love this part that was hurt by this and feel more calm? But then I still need to address it. And move is like, it's safe to address the situation because this is what God wants for you, a healed heart for you and for anyone who accepts your gift of, stepping up. You can't control that, but you will feel better. You will feel better by standing up for yourself. You don't need anyone to validate you. It's wonderful if they do, but um, you will feel naturally, I'll say vindicated or naturally empowered is the word, by speaking up for yourself because you know that you're being true to yourself. So don't be afraid to move. Don't be afraid to, once you talk to God about the situation, to trust the action that He leads you. And Deanna read this book that I shared. It's called Boundary Boss, I believe, by Terry somebody. See if I can find her. Oh yeah, Terry Cole, Boundary Boss, and she talks about boundary backlash. Sometimes when you move, you will feel, holy cow, like when I took action on this, I initially was like had to work through a lot of feeling, because usually you have to work through. There's usually a reason why we don't speak up. You have to work through that fear, work through that resistance, but it's worth it. Oh, to see the world changes because of people who stand up for themselves. It literally changes for the better, because the world can only change if people ask for better. So. Oh, this was very healing for me. I hope it was for you too. Thank you for tuning in. Sending you so much love. You deserve to be happy in your life. And I hope this helps you to go deeper in resolving what needs to be resolved for you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.